Welcome to the universe. The foundations, the variables, and the structure of the universe, by Sayad Mustan Wali. This first video is the introduction, the architecture of this work. The book begins with a simple conviction. The impossible is absolutely impossible, yet however ridiculous an idea may appear, if it is not impossible, then it remains possible. That conviction became the seed of this research. The author looked toward the asteroid belt and asked a fundamental question. How can small bodies, billions of kilometers from the sun, circle endlessly around it? How could motion begin without a cause? How could the sun wait passively for nearby matter to form planets, while those planets move at tens of kilometers per second against its immense pull? The idea that such motion could begin without an initial impulse seemed not merely unlikely, but impossible. From that question, this book was born, a lifelong attempt to understand motion itself, culminating in the massive mass ejection theory. The book is built as a single continuous argument about how the universe moves and forms itself. Its organizing idea is stated simply. The universe was built by motion, and motion was born from pressure impulse, massive mass ejection, rather than from rotation or collapse. The author presents this not as a hurried thought, but as the result of decades of observation, reflection, reading, doubt, and questioning. The work begins with what can be observed, proceeds through the causes that make observations possible, and culminates in a mechanical model intended to connect different levels of cosmic structure. The first part is called Foundations. It asks what makes science possible. The starting point is phenomena, what nature actually does, rather than abstract theory. The reader is invited to observe first, reason about causes, test through experiment, and return again to nature for confirmation. The foundations explore phenomena, first principles, universals and particulars, principles, conditions and elements, and syllogistic reasoning. The aim is to build the intellectual ground on which the later physical arguments will stand. The section ends by treating locomotion as a necessary act of the universe. Once the groundwork is established, the book turns to the variables, the active elements of motion. 6 variables are identified in the book: matter, impulse, momentum, gravity, space, and time. Within the author's framework, impulse initiates motion. Momentum continues motion, once acquired. Gravity regulates and restrains motion. Space and time provide the framework in which motion occurs. Matter is the carrier through which these actions are expressed. Pendulum experiments, projectile reasoning, and comparisons between terrestrial and cosmic phenomena are used to explore the same physical grammar at different scales. The author also proposes replacing inertia as the explanatory placeholder with momentum as a physical reality that must have been acquired. The third part is structure, the architecture of the universe. Here the massive mass ejection theory becomes the proposed unifying framework. The theory traces cosmic formation to pressure-driven expulsions of matter from dense regions. According to the book, each ejection imparts dispensable momentum, while gravity later bends that acquired momentum into orbits and systems. Planets, moons, rings, and larger structures are therefore examined as consequences of repeated ejection and gravitational shaping. The same mechanical reasoning is then extended outward toward galaxies and cosmic scale structure. The author describes the book as a journey from seeing, to understanding, to knowing. It does not ask the reader simply to believe. It asks the reader to pay attention to phenomena and to the logic connecting them. Mathematics, philosophy, and experiment appear together, but each is intended to serve observation. The reward sought by the book is coherence, one physical principle expressed at different scales, connecting matter and motion. The book is not written only for scientists. It is also intended for students, general readers, and anyone who has looked at the stars and wondered what truly moves these bodies, why they orbit, scatter, collide, and drift through space. No mathematical training is required. Where numbers appear, they are intended to illuminate rather than intimidate. The core of the work is reasoning, experiment, observation, and nature. The author states clearly that this book seeks not to oppose science, but to return science to what he sees as its natural foundation: phenomena, reason, and truth. He describes himself not as a professional physicist, but as a practicing doctor who has spent many years thinking, reading, observing, questioning, and trying to understand how the universe truly works. He does not present the work as a final answer. Some conclusions, he acknowledges, may prove wrong; others, he believes, may stand the test of time. What matters most, he says, is the method. Follow nature, not opinion. And finally, the book is written with urgency. The author does not claim to have unlimited time to wait for perfect words or public approval. He offers what he has learned and leaves the rest to future minds and hands. If even one reader, anywhere in the world, finds a section that brings clarity where there was confusion, he considers the effort worthwhile. This is the beginning of our journey through the universe. In the chapters that follow, we will move from foundations to variables, and finally to structure, following the book's continuous attempt to understand how matter moves, how motion begins, and how the universe forms itself. Thank you for joining this journey.